Okay, folks, Brother Peter here with tidbits from the Word. My suggestion to you today, if you are a person who is actually interested in learning about God, is learning about increasing the size of their soul and their spirit from the inside out, I suggest you get you a Bible. I suggest you open the Bible to the book of Ecclesiastes, which is just before the Song of Solomon and just behind the book of Proverbs. Ecclesiastes is stated in many of the Bibles I have with many claims. The word ecclesiastical, the word these people put in their footnotes, is the word preacher. Ecclesiastes in 3 languages mean 3 different things. The ecclesiastical church that was here, the first church, was the ecclesiastical church of that era, was a group of people come together, and that's what it was. And there are ways of saying ecclesiastical, and you can say it 2 or 3 different ways and have 2 or 3 different meanings to it. So the thing about it is it's a group of words in this book, Ecclesiastes, that are ecclesiastical words. They go out beyond the realm of just written words in the book. They enter into the heart of man and the soul of man, and they're brought in there by the body of man. We have 5 openings in our life. We have 5 senses. We have the sense of seeing right here. We have the sense of seeing. Seeing feeds the mental pictures in your brain to what you're seeing with your natural eye. We have the sense of hearing. We can hear, and we hear with our ear, and it puts the sound into our brain for the hearing that we do. A human body is fitly put together. When God made this human body, He fitly put it together. And the senses, we have smell. We can smell, we can touch, we can taste. We have the senses. You could take a bite of a donut and say, that is a donut. How can you tell it's a donut? You have a sense of taste buds in your mouth that tells you it is a donut. Then you could drink a cup of a mouthful of chocolate and say, this is cocoa. And your senses in your mouth tell you that, your taste buds. And then you could drink a swallow of coffee and say, this is coffee. And that, isn't that beautiful? To be able to have these different realms with the physical body. Now with the spiritual body, when you taste of things spiritual, you should know what they are. You should know, is this spiritual meat or is this a cookie? Is this a spiritual cookie or is this a spiritual beefsteak? Now I'm going to tell you, the book of Ecclesiastes is a spiritual beefcake. It is better than a burger from a fast food joint. It is like going to a high-class restaurant and eat the best piece of prime meat that could be set before you. But you must dig it out. You must dig it out. I have spent multiple minutes this morning and turned into hours of just trying to get to where I could even start to say something on this tube about this book. This book is so deep and so astounding and so precious to the man who wants to pass by the physical and get into the spiritual and get into the feeding the soul inside of this body, so that the soul and the spirit could end up controlling the flesh that is actually taken all of this in. The question is there anything of which it may be said it is new under the sun? Is there anything that may be said that is new under the sun? I think not. I think all that is under the sun has been passed through the S-O-N, the Son of God. And the S-O-N, Son of God, knew everything that was going to happen under the S-U-N before it happened. He knows the story from the end to the beginning. If you please, take a minute and back up. Pause this. Go over to Proverbs chapter 8 and read the last few verses and see where the Son, S-O-N, was with the Father before there was a was. And he knew what was going to happen through the whole time. Would you believe that God knows every wave that hits the shore? You say, Brother Peter, you're crazy as a bed bug. Even God couldn't know every wave that hits the shore. Yes, he does. He set them. He set the waves and he set the boundaries. And he knows the hair on your head, a number of every one of them. Listen, God is God. He knew the end from the beginning. You say, well, why did he set this whole thing up? Well, if you please, it's like a man who really knows how to play chess. His first move negates his last move. When he makes his first move, he knows exactly what his last move is going to be against the opponent that he is playing against. It doesn't take him but a minute to know the opponent that he's playing against and the kind of game that guy's going to play. By the first move he makes, he knows exactly what the end of the game is going to be like. Now, this is God. It's not by chance that God knows everything. God set everything from the beginning. He says there is nothing new under the sun. There is no remembrance of the former things, nor will there be any remembrance of the things that are to come by those who will come after. Listen, when we get to heaven, the Bible said there's not going to be any remembrance of this earth. There's not going to be any. This earth is for an earthly time. This earth is to carry this life through this earth in order to get the spiritual man and the soul to where it's supposed to go up in the wild blue yonder in heaven after this body goes to the grave. Now we're all put here for a purpose. You say, Brother Peter, what is your purpose? My purpose is like the purpose of Solomon. He came down to the deduction that his purpose on this earth, he had missed it. That his purpose on this earth was to be a preacher of righteousness and not a preacher of wisdom. Solomon preached a message of wisdom and missed the wisdom of the spiritual life that a man should have, only to come down to the end to say, I fed the wrong dog. I fed the wrong man. See, Solomon himself ended up, because of his physical desire to please his flesh in all ways, including having more women than 900 other men had, that he was pleasing the flesh. Only to find out that by pleasing the flesh, he was putting his soul down. And when you put your soul down, you come at the end of your life with nothing but regret. Because the flesh is all vanity and vexation of the spirit. Now there's nothing new, no remembrance. The preacher now that is preaching here in the book of Ecclesiastes. Remember, we said in the first excerpt, he was the king over all the land, and everything that was under heaven was given to him to use. And he used it for a selfish reason, to please his own mind. The Bible said in Ecclesiastes, the wind goeth out, and nobody knows which way it blows. I was reading in the MacArthur Bible here for a few minutes there. I was looking at some things that it says. I'm going to start in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1, and I want to read out of this book. This is a Bible of hope, and it's from the King James Version. As always, I try to use the King James Version when I'm preaching. And this is a Bible, a Lighthouse Bible, that has soul notes in it, and it's a very good Bible. The Ecclesiastes chapter 1 starts out, the vanity of life. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, says the preacher, the king of Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit has a man from all his labor in which he toils under the sun? Here's his first question. His first question would cause great ponder, great wonder, great research. If you get out and you start researching, and you'll find out that even if a man had a good physical life, a farmer, born to be a farmer, farmed all his life, had happy days, went out in the field every morning, came in, ate a good meal, went out in the field in the afternoon, came and slept a good night's sleep, ate of the vegetables of his hands and everything, but did not serve God, his whole life would be vanity. But you take a farmer that gets up in the morning, goes out, worships God as he plows, worship God with his substance that he takes in, has God at the forefront. He looks just like the other farmer, but he's content, he's happy, because his soul and his spirit is where it's supposed to be. He forsakes not the assembling together of himself with other believers. As the matter of some is, they forsake assembling together. He forsakes not the tithe, 10% of everything he brings from the field. He says, with the flesh, I'm going to give it to God. And he does. And that's the thing he needs to do. He said, what profit a man from all his labor in which he toils under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh. But the earth abides forever. The sun also arises and goes down, and arises again where it came from. My friend, we are only in chapter 1 of the book of Ecclesiastes. I claim that I'm going to do 12 of these at the rate I'm going. I'll have to do 24 to just get through the 12 chapters. But this is a deep book, very deep. And to get in it deep, we need to think about it. We need to really ponder it. We need to put it in our hearts. And we need to, we're going to be careful. We don't want to do like the sun does in a way. The sun hastens, he says here, to go back and come back up. We don't want to hasten life through. We want to ask God to use us in our spiritual life to get around to all the places we need to. Well, this is Brother Peter. I've got to go. I'll be back in the next excerpt in a bit.